Hey, welcome to the top 10 best beers of 2016 list, according to me, Chad, of Chad's Beer Reviews. The 9th annual installment of this. I have videos going back to 2009. So if you want to see the archives, I'll put links to them all in the description box below, or just check out my blog. They're on there too. Anyway, so we just got to put the rules up front. This is how it works. Of all the beers that I reviewed in 2016 for the first time, these were the 10 most memorable, and they're not even necessarily in order of the 10 that received the highest grades. They're in the order of the 10 that I like the best. In fact, some of these, there might have even, one beer that scored higher on the list might have received a lower grade than a beer that was lower on the list, or higher, or vice versa, whatever. You know what I mean? Anyways, just some other rules. Macros are eligible, even though there's no macros on this list. Re-reviews, not eligible. And a couple other stipulations is I'm only doing, and this I think this is something I'm going to do from now on, only one entry per brewery and only one entry per style. That way, if you look at some of my previous years, they're like all Imperial Stouts and IPAs. I didn't want to do that. This is a very cornucopia, potpourri, eccentric, wide variety of styles, beers, and breweries on this list, and I'm really proud of that too. Some of these choices might be kind of head scratching, but I stand by them all. I liked all these beers. So I'm gonna stop rambling. Let's get to the list. All right, number 10, Baruka Taino Light Beer. This is something I never thought I'd see on a list. A light lager on my top 10 best beers of the year list. Although they kind of use, I think might be using the term light lager a little liberally there. It's only 4.5 ABV, and it is just an American light lager. I'm not sure if there's adjuncts in it or not, but since they call it light lager, I graded it to the category 1A style, the American light lager, and it would hit on all the points. And not only that, it would went above and beyond. It just had actual genuine flavor, no acetaldehyde, diacetyl, DMS, stuff like that. Stuff you find in your Yinglings or your Bud Lights and Coors Light and things like that. It probably is like a Helles, like a Munich Helles or a Keller beer or something like that, or Dortmunder. But they're calling it a light lager, so that's how I reviewed it. Not usually a big fan of lagers. I do like, real genuine Czech Pilsners and German Pilsners. But just if they call it light lager, it's usually like the last beer I'm going to buy. But I got this one. I wasn't expecting much, and it turned out to be actually really good. So, yeah, I like it. I just wish it was available in cans. Baruka they're not even a brewery, it's just a Puerto Rican-owned company, and the beer is contract brewed at Florida Beer Company. So I think you could probably only get this in Florida and Puerto Rico and the Caribbean islands, but I'm not entirely sure. Anyways, if you see it, try it. You might be surprised how much you like it. All right, number 9, Uinta Baba Black Lager. I'm not usually a fan of black lagers or Schwarz beers. But this one really surprised me. Malt forward of dark malt and some roastiness and coffee in the background. Dry bitterness at the apex with slight floral and piney hops. It was sweet, but it was far from cloying. Not exactly wonderfully delicious, but it was still pretty darn good. Absolutely on two spec on all points. Looked great, smelled great, was easy and fun to drink at only 4% ABV. And what's ironic, or maybe not ironic, just unfortunate, is that the bottle I was reviewing at the time was actually a little old. So I'd imagine if I had a fresh bottle, it would probably score even higher. So if I find one that's super fresh, maybe we'll give us a re-review someday. Maybe, we'll see. All right, number 8, Yeehaw Dunkel. I saw this bottle at the Beer Bloggers Conference here in Tampa in July, and I just saw it and made me laugh. I was like, I gotta try this thing. And I wasn't expecting much, but it's absolutely 2-spec 8A Munich Dunkel style, which is actually pretty similar to Schwarzbier. Munich Dunkel is 8A, Schwarzbier is 8B. So there's a slight nutty character, finishes with strong toffee chocolate flavors. It's a dark lager. It's not like a brown ale or anything like that. Mild spicy hot bitterness for balance. I actually would call it delicious. I would session that all day, except that it's a 5.5 ABV, so it's a little more than what I would consider a session beer. Plus, it's a beer from Tennessee, and we can't get it here in Florida. Thanks to whoever brought it to the Beer Bloggers Conference. That was a really memorable beer. If you do see it, I definitely recommend checking it out. Number 7, the Duck Rabbitor Doppelbock. A Doppelbock is a style much like the last. Actually, every beer on this list so far is except for number 10, beers that American breweries don't tend to make, and if they do, they don't tend to do them really well. But this one was absolutely on point. This could hold a candle to Celebrator, and all those other German Doppelbocks. Huge malty sweetness, not cloying, delectable dark fruit flavors throughout. Some confectionery flavors of caramel and milk chocolate can be found in the background. Mild spicy hop bitterness is perceived on the finish, as is alcohol. A clean lager character, no acetaldehyde, diacetyl, or anything like that. Full body with a thick, soft texture. It's not syrupy though. Alcohol warmth is pleasant at 8.5 ABV, and actually has a clean aftertaste, which is a nice bonus. It's 8.5 ABV, so it'll age, fairly well, I guess. But and in fact, I think the bottle I had at the time was probably 6 or 7 months old. I would love to try this like as soon as it's released to see what it tastes like when it's brand spanking new. So maybe I'll try that next spring. All right, number 6. This is a beer, and this is a running theme you're going to see in this list. Beers that have been around forever, and I just never tried them, or at least never reviewed them until 2016. So number 6, Stephano Vitus, which is their Weizenbock, which a Weizenbock is basically a Hefeweizen imperialized, like basic same, bready malt, from all the wheat in the beer. Huge banana, clove thing from the esters and the phenols. Lemony flavor. Pretty strong, 7.7 ABV, but like super, super drinkable. Just suck that right down in a hot Florida evening. And it's, this is widely distributed. So if you're watching this in America, I bet if you went to your local beer store, it's probably sitting on the shelf right now. Go get it. I think it's a year-round beer. I think it's, enjoyable in the winter because of the spiciness, and enjoyable in the summer because of how refreshing and easy it is to drink. So yeah, can't believe I waited so long to try that one. Can't believe I waited so long to try this one. Number 5, Unibrew La Terrible, or is it La Terrible? I don't know. I don't speak French. That's a terrible name for a beer. They should have called it La Fantatique, because it's a fantastic beer. Belgian strong dark style, like your Chimay Blues, your Rochefort 10s, West C12. Except they throw a little bit of spices in there, which was a inspiration for a Christmas beer that I did. Strong black pepper sensation up front, rich sweet dark malt presence with bread and fruitcake flavors throughout. Dried and stone fruit flavor preside from beginning to end. Faint orange peel in the background. 10.5 ABV. Gives a little bit of a vanilla-like taste, plus some gentle warmth. It's not hot or distract or anything like that. So yeah, but Unibrew, they make such great stuff. I like the Le Fin du Monde, I think, better than this. But this one is, if you can't get the Le Fin du Monde, get this. It's kind of like the black version of Le Fin du Monde. Speaking of which, number 4, Triple Carmelet. This is probably, it's a toss. I can't decide between this and Le Fin du Monde as to what's my all-time favorite Belgian triple style. This has a really wonderful fruity flavor to it. A lot of people have tried this. They kind of call it like a Fruity Pebbles kind of taste. Definitely, it's almost like an American IPA kind of citrusy thing of like grapefruit and lemon and orange and all that stuff, and a little bit of tropical fruits in there. Plus, you're getting your typical Belgian yeast esters of banana, a little bit of clove, and that's just that kind of general spicy sensation. Really, really highly effervescent, dry finish. A little bit of alcohol warmth, but it's not like hot. It's nice, and it's actually refreshing too, considering how strong it is. Which I did not write down the ABV. I think it's 8 something, but don't quote me on that. So yeah, that's a classic example. If you never had it, definitely. Again, this is probably in your beer store right now. Go get it. What are you waiting for? All right, number 3, Petrus Aged Red. I'm actually not really a huge sour fan. I'm just kind of over them because to me sours all kind of taste the same, even though I know it's heresy to say that, or blasphemy, whatever you want to say. But so if a sour shows up on this list, it's got to be good for me. And again, kind of brownie points on this one because the brewers of Petrus were at the Beer Bloggers Conference, and they put on this big demonstration. They showed how they actually build those foeders, the wood fermentation tanks they use to make the base beer, which is what they call Petrus Pale Ale, and that gets all soured up, and then they blend it with young and old. Technically, this is a oud brewing, and they throw a bunch of cherries in there. So, actually, it was a toss-up between this and the pale as to which I like better. I kind of like this a little bit better because that cherry taste was absolutely delicious. It's like, what do they call those cherries? Maraschino cherries, like you would get like on a sundae or something like that. Kind of like that, really sweet, really tart, and a nice kind of sourness on there. It's like liquid candy. Really love that one. If you ever seen the Sour Power mix pack at your beer store, it's like a picture of a blonde guy pouring 2 bottles into a glass. That's this bottle, and plus their other beers are in that box. I definitely recommend picking that up. All right, number 2, Founders Harvest Ale. There had to be an IPA in this list, and I did a count. I reviewed 47 IPAs this year. It's quite a lot. Although that's counting regular IPA, double IPA, specialty IPA, etc. And it was really hard to pick which one out of the 47 I liked the best to include on this list. I had considered Stone's Enjoy By, and actually a few other Stone beers because pretty much all Stone makes is IPAs. And I didn't want to include any fruity IPAs because I'm kind of over those. Although one in particular did stand out. But this one, and this beer I think has been around for quite a few years. It's just a regular old harvest ale. A harvest ale, or at least a harvest IPA, is when they take the wet hops, right off the vine, and just throw those right into the brew without even really drying them out or anything. They tend to be like super resiny. This one was a little bit more West Coasty, like you got huge citrus, tropical fruits. Get that kind of New England style of grassy, spicy aroma, a little bit of taste in there too. Had juicy kind of taste. It wasn't especially sweet. Really well balanced. Really highly drinkable. I just sucked that right down. I think it wasn't. What was it, 6 or 7% ABV? Kind of walks that fine line between single and double IPA. But yeah, I mean, if you see this is a good one of the best wet hop IPAs that I can think of, and especially considering because now Founders is as big as your Sam Adams and New Belgium and all that stuff. I think they're available in all 50 states, so you should be able to get this like even in your grocery store. But if not there, check your beer store. If you never had it, get it. But yeah, there's so many other IPAs I can recommend, but had to narrow it down to one. All right, speaking of one, number 1, Funky Buddha Last Snow. This is a really interesting beer. I didn't think I was gonna like it. This is I guess you could call it a strong porter. It's not quite an imperial. It's only 6.4 ABV, and it has coffee and coconut in it, and it has a little bit of a chocolatey taste. So they don't actually put chocolate in there. So if you know me, I've had all those Southern Tier Blackwater series of flavored stouts like the Java, chocolate, creme brulee, etc. And I didn't think this was going to be able to hold a candle to that, but it does, and it's not even as strong as some of those beers. You wouldn't think coffee and coconut would go well together, but they actually do, because it's kind of like a bitterness and a spiciness, and plus your base. I think they did well to go with a porter base instead of a stout, so it's not like super roasty, and it would just be like all astringent and dry. Has a little bit of a fruity flavor in there, a little bit of chocolate in there. No roast or burnt flavor. I swear it tastes a little bit of cinnamon there. I'm not sure if they put cinnamon in it, but something like that is in there. And when I moved to Orlando and then here to Lakeland, like all the local beer nerds were like, "You got to get Last Snow." Like people were like, they've been putting on the message boards, "Oh, this store has it," and like this gas station has it, and like people would just be like, "You got to get this beer." Like it'd be like, kind of like, I mean, I kind of would say like how Heady Topper is back in New York. Like, oh my God, the store is Heady Topper. Go get it right now. Or like a bar that has Hill Farmstead. That's kind of how Funky Buddha is down here. And actually, I haven't really had too many of Funky Buddha's beers, but this one, I've seen events, like I had this at like 2 or 3 different events where bars and restaurants, because what they do is, I think the beer comes out in the winter, and the bars, restaurants, and the stores will kind of like hoard cases of it, and then they'll do events in the spring and summer and even the fall. Be like, "Hey, look, we just brought out some Last Snow," and people will come from miles around just to get the Last Snow. So yeah, it's really good. I'm surprised they actually don't do a stronger version of this, like a 12% ABV. I think that would be awesome. But yeah, if you're ever in Florida and you get a chance to get some Funky Buddha last snow, definitely do it. And it's a good beer to trade for if you can't get it where you are. So yeah, that's it. Wow, this went on way longer than I thought it would. But if you stuck to the end, you're awesome. Thanks for watching. I'm sure the top 10 worst beers list will be coming real soon. I'll put a link to everything in the description box, and I will see you around. Bye.